Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a eye look. I'm super excited about this eye look because I actually am going to be using the brand new Meet Matte SHMAKER by the Balm Cosmetics. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're just going to be doing the eyes, and then I'm going to also talk you guys through what I use on the face just briefly, but it's mainly going to be an eye tutorial. So if you guys want to stay tuned and continue watching and see what I think of the Meet Matte SHMAKER, then please go ahead and continue watching. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is prime our eyelids, and this is just going to make sure that the colors look very nice and pigmented onto our eyes. Okay, so the colors in here are so beautiful, but for some reason I'm really gravitating towards this really dark look over here. I don't know why, but it's just really screaming my name. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is first we're gonna start off with a brown shade, because you definitely kind of want to use a building point for your eyeshadows. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go in with this nice brown shade. It is in the color Matte Stupak. And we're just gonna take that all over our upper crease. And I'm using a Morphe M506. And that's just a very defined, precise brush that you can use to really get in there and build on that. I feel like using a color that is lighter to start off is always a really good idea, especially when you're building on a really dark color, because you want there to be transition. You don't want it to be too harsh. Then I'm going to take my Delium Tools small tapered blending brush, and we're going to take Matte Snyder. This is a much darker brown, and we're just going to start also placing that where we placed the first color, which was Matte Stupak. I think that is pronounced that way. And we just want to build that. I really like the Balm Cosmetics, especially when I tried out Meet Matte Nude. You guys know that's one of my favorite palettes ever. And they just make really, really good eyeshadow. So I was so excited when I saw they were going to make something that included a shimmer and a matte, because you guys know I live for a good palette that has shimmers and mattes, because you're able to do a lot with it. And you're able to really make some really cool looks using both colors and not having to worry about like having to gravitate towards another palette, because you have everything in one palette. And I find that me using this Delium Tools small tapered brush has saved my life, because it is so fluffy that it really gets in there and blends everything out so beautifully. Okay, so for the black, we're just gonna be very precise with where we place it. We want to place it along the edge of the eye. And then you're going to take the other blending brush that you first used to put on that first color as our transition shade, and you're going to start to blend those out together. And you can see the transition's a lot smoother than just having like straight up black in there. And my perfect tip to do this correctly is really making sure that you just leave it on the outer edge for now, and then you gradually drag it outwards, because if you just automatically go everywhere with it, it's gonna get really messy really fast. And I feel like that's a problem that a lot of people have with really black eyeshadows, is that they take too much of it and they don't know where to place it, so they just place it everywhere and ends up looking like a hot mess. So you really want to make sure that you are very careful with the placement, and you don't have too much product, and you're very light-handed as you're placing that black shade. And then you also want to make sure that that transition shade that you applied first is really on there, so that it can serve as a really good blending tool to blend the colors very seamlessly. And once you've placed that black right there and it's blended out, you do want to go ahead and start to build up the black, but just with what's left of the brush that you used to first apply it. And then you're going to take a bigger blending brush. This is my Sigma E40. And really go in those circular motions. Same thing with this side. And because it's a big brush, it really allows you to disperse it as opposed to placing it with a smaller brush and then just placing it in one spot. So I always recommend you going in with a bigger fluffy brush. Now we're going to start applying it onto our lid. You just want to do the outer edge first, and you will see why in a second. If you start doing the inner edge on the other side, it will not look that amazing because you want to use a different brush. So for halo eye, you definitely want to use several different brushes that can really serve as ideal brushes for each section, just because I feel like the halo eye, it can look very easy, but it can also be a little bit harder. So now that you kind of erased the background colors, you can start to see why it's always good to go in with transition colors, because it makes it easier for this part to blend out. So now it looks like this. So you may be scared right now and be like, oh my god, that's so intense, but it's gonna be better. This is definitely another one of those looks where you definitely need to wait until it's done, and that's when it starts to look like super snatched. So now we're going to keep taking that black, and we're going to use the smallest little brush that we had, and we are just going to go ahead and place it on the outer edge. If you use a really fluffy blending brush for the outer edge, it's going to be really hard to get in here, so I always recommend using a much smaller detail brush. Okay, so one of the biggest parts in doing this look is really making sure that you blend out the edges. So you really want to make sure that with these sides, that you really take them in and blend very softly and subtly, because if you blend too harshly, then it's going to just look like a hot mess. So you want to be very, very soft. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut our crease, but we're only going to cut the middle piece of it. So you just want to take your Delium Tools brushes, and you guys know I'm using the Bold Lip brush, and you just want to cut it just in the center. And don't worry about it looking harsh right now, because we're going to go back and diffuse the color that we put on the mid lid with the color that we have on the edges, which is the black. So now we're going to be taking Jamie Wan, which is this gorgeous like blue like emerald color, and we're just going to be placing that right on the middle, as you can see. And it was paired with that black, and you can see it makes perfect contrast with it. And then we're just going to take a little bit of our MAC Fix Plus, just to kind of make it have that like wet, like super duper shimmery consistency on the lid with the Jamie Wan color. I think that color is phenomenal, and I like how they're paired with each shimmer and matte, because I feel like when you're creating like a nice smoky eye, or you're creating a halo eye or anything like that, sometimes it's hard to figure out which colors you want to use to work with together. But when you already have them paired up and you kind of have like that idea of which colors work really well together, I feel like it makes it so much easier. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to our black shade. Black is always so hard to work with, but don't be scared, because black always ends up giving the look such a beautiful outcome and makes it look so fierce, especially if you're going on a nice date or you're going to a party. I feel like you can never go wrong with adding like a little bit of black. Obviously, if you're not comfortable adding like intense black the way that I have added it, you can always go ahead and make it a little bit more subtle. And I'm just taking this nice Sigma E40 blending brush with no product on, but I'm still blending that out. And I'm rounding it right here because you already kind of placed the shimmer in there, so you kind of just want to give it that rounded effect. I'm going to leave the eyes like that for a second, and then we're going to go into our concealer. So for concealer, I'm just gonna go ahead and take the Shape Tape since it's right here. Okay, and we're just gonna take our Morphe sponge and start blending that out. I always love blending out with a beauty sponge, my concealer. I feel like it just makes it so much easier. I feel like under eye concealer makes such a big difference. And then we're gonna take the edge and sharpen. See what I mean? That makes such a big freaking difference when you do that. And then we're just gonna go ahead and set it. We're gonna take our Patrick Star setting powder and set it. So now what we're gonna go ahead and do, now that we've done our eyes, is we're gonna leave them be for a second and we're gonna do the rest of our face. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and take my KKW Beauty Contour Palette and we're just gonna go ahead and contour our cheeks. I'm just gonna go in very, very softly. We're also gonna take it down here just a touch. And then for highlight, I'm gonna be taking my Kylie Cosmetics Fiji. This highlighter is absolutely beautiful. You just have to be careful with it because it's loose. So you just have to make sure that you don't like drop it on yourself or do anything like that because there will be a huge mess. So we're just gonna keep the highlight right here in this area like that. And then a little bit down here. If you guys are wondering what I use for foundation, I had to go back to my Huda Beauty Faux Filter because this stuff, oh, it's so amazing. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and take our eyeliner and we're just using the Juvia's Place with the Sigma E65 angled brush. And we are gonna go in and just line. And the reason why I'm lining is so that when we put on our false lashes, they look like they're real, and also it kind of makes it look more realistic with the lash band and the eyeliner as opposed to just putting it straight onto our eyes. And then of course we're going to go in with our mascara. And then we're going to be taking our Lily lashes in the style Miami. You guys know that I love me some Miami lashes. So one lash is on and you can see how big of a difference that makes. Now you don't have to use these lashes whatsoever. You can use whatever lash you really enjoy using and it will look great. So our lashes are on now. So now we can go ahead and do our lower lash line, which we're actually going to be doing a mixture of both of the colors. So first we're going to be taking the dark black with our Morphe M508 and we're just going to go and smoke it up just a little bit. You want to be very, very light because this can easily become extremely dramatic and you do not want that. You'd still want to keep the color light. And then you're going to go with another one and go in with that pretty lid shade that we use, that like emerald blue. And then you want to take that dark color again. And then we're just going to go in with mascara again and just coat those lower lashes. And then for my lip color, I'm just going to be using ColourPop Chai. And this is a nice nude. And this is the completed look. I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video. I really love it. I feel like it turned out super beautiful, and I feel like it's perfect for an evening out. I do want to quickly say that I really enjoy this Meet Match SHMAKER palette. I feel like it is so great. I feel like this is something that is definitely essential to anybody's collection, just because you have your definitely more dramatic and out there shades right down here, and then up here you have those shades that are much more wearable for somebody that, you know, just wants something for everyday colors. I feel like you have that. If you want something for drama, you have that as well. I feel like this is also a really good starting palette, like if you want to get into like more creative looks and you're trying to find the right palette. I feel like you can never go wrong with this. This one's also much cheaper than the regular palettes that they make, the like Meet Matte Nude, Meet Matrimony, etc, etc. I feel like those are around like 40 something dollars. This was $29, which is a really good deal. They are a little bit smaller than the other palettes, like pan size, but I feel like you get your money's worth for $29 with having this in there. So that's really awesome. If you guys have any other recommendations on what palettes I should use for another eye tutorial, then please go ahead and leave them down below so I know to do that next. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and become a member of our family here on YouTube, because I wouldn't want you to miss this fun for the world. And that being said, I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon for a brand new video. Bye guys.